There we go. So I made the decision to put my kale seeds in this little filter. There they are. Just rinse them. And this is basically what you want to do. If you're using little seeds, I would say if you can, 3 or 4 times a day, or whenever they start to look kind of dry. So these guys will just drip through the bottom, and they're gonna sit on top of here. So this guy here is the actual spreader is called an easy spreader. It's pretty easy. The other thing I have here is the fenugreek. So those guys are sitting up high. Where is this? Oh, there we go. That's why, because I was crazy zoomed in. Okay, so here we are. I've got them up to the side. If you're using fenugreek, you'll find that the water goes bright yellow. So I'm just going to fill up the jar. This is our day 2. Filling up the jar, clearing out all the extra stuff from the water. Making sure you don't lose too much. You can do a double rinse if you want here. And just a little finicky to drip off that last little bit. So you really do want to make sure that they don't sit in too much standing water. Okay, and that's these guys all rinsed out, ready to sit. The kale, I've got this right here. Gonna rinse them through the filter. You could do this if you have a colander. Just make sure that it's small enough that your seeds won't fall through. Your smaller seeds, I would say 3 or 4 times a day. Your bigger ones, so like the fenugreek, can probably handle being like twice a day. And as you can see, I'm doing this in a bathroom here. You don't even need a kitchen to sprout. Okay, so we've got those guys. And we've got these guys. And there's some band-aids on my counter. Okay, well that's it for now. So this is the really exciting part for me, or at least one of them. See that little white speck there? So it's the seeds starting to crack open. These are kind of, there's a couple keeners in there, so there's those white specks there. There's another one right down there. And they're just starting to crack open. Let's see how close we can get to it. Oops. Yeah, so the shell is just splitting open, and that's going to happen to all of these guys. So cool. And then let's see how our fenugreek's doing. So this is only after 1 rinse. Let's see if we can focus in at all. So these guys, they start to get little tails on them. So you can see how they're almost like a folded over. So I'm clearly not that good at this. So they were a folded over seed, and now it starts to separate and look like little folded over babies. So that one end will start to be the tail, the other end is where the leaf will grow out of. So these are already starting to, so they've all soaked up. And we'll start to see some little tap roots soon. Okay, so I just did my second rinse on my sprouts here. So I've got my fenugreek guys right there. Starting to grow some tails. And then I've dampened this washcloth. Woo! And I've got my kale inside there. So I've actually stacked the kind of like strainer type top to my easy sprouter. So I've got both seeds together, so the kale If there's any water dripping still, it'll fall down into the fenugreek, but it's kind of creating a moist, warm environment. So I'm actually going to be out for the night. I'm not going to be home until a bit later tomorrow. So this is kind of a good setup to make sure they don't get dried out. Sometimes this could be a risk of mold later on, but I think with the seeds as small as they are right now, if I really felt concerned tomorrow, then I could add a couple drops of hydrogen peroxide and fix that pretty easily. But I think we're going to be safe like this. So they're in a nice warm environment, and tomorrow I bet there'll be a little bit more growth than what we've got right there. So you see the tail starting to pop out. So we'll see how it looks tomorrow. All right.